Even with all her nerfs, Raze is still one of the most liked heroes in Valorant, and one of those that is just super fun to watch, to play as, especially when you get her C4 techniques down. And that's kind of what I want to talk about today. How do you play Raze as some of the best Raze players in the game? People like Flights, for example, that you might think of. People like Agent Gumley, Gray, FPS, all of these. Like, how do you play and do satchel jumps like them? And that's what this video is going to focus on. How to do satchel jump from beginner all the way up to those amazing rollouts with the ultimate and all of that kind of stuff. How to do those, how to practice those. So let's really just jump into it. Oh, beautiful, lovely gamers. As always, my name is Jonal. Of course, a like on the video helps greatly out against YouTube algorithm, helps spread it around. Same if you just share it. Drop a comment down below, subscribe to the channel if you like this type of content. And with no further ado, I won't hold you anymore, so let's just begin. So, how do we practice Raze satchel jumps? Well, it's quite simple. Open up a custom game, and before you do anything, you select the map. So here I selected Ascent. You go and you make sure that it's standard mode. That's set by default, so you shouldn't really have to change anything here. Then you click on Option, and then the important part is to turn on Allow Cheats. After that, you just hit the start button. And what we want with the allow cheats, essentially we just want to be able to use our abilities as much as we want, take no damage and whatever. So here, of course, we're practicing Raze, so we pick Raze, and then we load it into the map. And what we can do, we can fly around the map with no clips, we can fly through walls, we can kind of get up to high grounds that we normally would have to, for example, get sage walled up to, and kind of do all these kind of things to practice our jumps. Because we gotta start practicing this a little bit outside of our ranked matches before we try to, fly through, the entire enemy team. And then we're just gonna end up, flying into walls and crashing and messing up our jumps. Important stuff, you click escape, you click on cheats. Here you can pause the timer. That way, this timer won't go through. And then you can click end game phase. That way you kind of get into a live match right now. So now there's no walls stopping us from flying around and all that good stuff. You can set your ghost if you want to be able to fly through walls like this and fly around, and you can turn on a ghost hotkey. But the important part here is like infinite abilities, infinite ammo, infinite magazine, infinite creds. It ignores chopping restrictions and vulnerability. That way I can fly high up and I can just drop from this and I won't take any damage. You can do without this if you for some reason wanted to, but whatever. And then you're really ready to play around. So let's start by just practicing the very basics. So, the very, very, very basics. Quite simple. So, the first thing you just gotta know how to do is just how to air strafe. Because you gotta know how to control yourself while you're flying through the air. Now, it's quite simple to air strafe. And if you already know how to bunny jump, then you already know how to air strafe. Most likely, because most people bunny jump while they're air strafing. So, air strafing is quite simple, the same with bungee jump. So bungee jump is just hold W and then jump and jump and jump and jump. And just kind of keep jumping as you hit the ground. And if you time it correctly, you should be allowed to continuously jump. If you want to air strafe on top of that, you want to, as you go to the left, so as you hold the A key, so you're going to go forward. As you kind of jump to the left, you move your mouse to the left. And then as you move to the right, you move your mouse to the right. So that's how you air strafe. This is of course a very exaggerated movement. So what you're doing is you're holding W and then you kind of A, D, A, D, A, D. And that's kind of how strafe, right? So if you want to go to the left here, I jump and I hold A and then I kind of curve around with my mouse. Okay? Quite simple, quite easy. How do we do that with satchel jumps? So satchel jumps, like the very basic satchel jumps, anyone should know. Anyone should know how to do a simple satchel jump like this. It's super good if you want to kind of get in somewhere or get away from enemies or just in general. And it kind of later, you can start using them for stuff like if you hold an up here, you can do stuff like this to kind of like essentially use it as a jet dash, right? So if you're out in the open a little bit, you can do that. Or if for some reason, you went out here, you kind of took some trades, you can quickly jump to the side with your satchels, using them as kind of movement. But to just a straight kind of like fly you through a straight satchel jumps, you throw it down, And the closer you are to the center, the higher up you're gonna fly. The further away from the center, the further it's gonna push you. Logically, we want to go as fast as possible forward and with some elevation, right? The elevation so that we can have time to kind of shift and control, also so we can land on top of boxes and stuff like that, and be a little bit more difficult, right? Like rolling out like where you kind of like just fly like this across the ground. You can see I'm kind of just skipping. But that can be nice sometimes to be able to do, right? You kind of just like peek someone like that. For example, you can, if I put it here, right, you can run like this, and then you can do something like that, where it's just like a quick skip to kind of stop him from, for example, holding like a really tight angle on you. You can just fly past him and right-click him to the head. But generally, we want to kind of go here, run at the C4, jump, and then detonate it. So we get a little bit of elevation and still a lot of momentum forward. So the sweet spot is like to detonate like somewhere around this range away from it. Something like that is approximately the sweet spot. But that's why you kind of go in here. Now, the second follow-up is super easy. If you do the first one correctly, the second one is literally just spam E. Spam, well, for me it's E. Spam your satchel button once more. And you get the second one almost immediately. Just look straight down, drop it straight down, and that's it. That's how you do it. So you just look straight down, throw it, and then it's super easy. And then if you want to control your movement, you just air shift like that, right? So that was me holding the D button and moving my mouse to the right to kind of curve a little bit. Okay? So that's the, again, that was very, very close to each other. So then I fly further up, right? So, and then that's the very, very simplistic way of using satchel jumps. Drop it down, run a little bit past it to around the distance there, jump, and then throw the second one right after. And that way you get a lot of just flying momentum just straight out. And super nice. Now, we could be talking about rollouts, but I think that's a little bit of a waste of time. Rollouts, if you want to really learn them, you gotta watch YouTube videos where they go over each specific rollout. And the only thing that you gotta know about rollouts is you gotta pay attention. If they tell you that you drop your C4 here, right? Don't drop it, you know, here, a little bit too close, right? Because then you get maybe the wrong rollout, right? So that's kind of the only thing. And like going over rollouts with you is, in my opinion, just gonna be a waste of your time, and I don't want to do that. I want to just show you one thing really quickly. So again, if you gotta, on some of the rollouts, you gotta be like getting up on stuff like reactor. And again, if you jump normally, this gets really, really difficult, right? So I'm just running, and I'm like timing to jump, but like I still can't make it, even though I'm like jumping like at this split second. So if you add a crouch, it's so much easier. So you crouch as you like jump, you crouch midair, you just hit the control button midair. So like crouch, and then you will normally make it if you don't. It's so focused on explaining it. All right, so jump and then crouch, right? And then you land, like your character pulls her leg up, and then it's easier to land. So if you gotta do some of these like jumps, same if you gotta move like up here, right? Some people struggle running from bike and then up to these boxes, right? Because if you can do it if you jump like that, but some people struggle really with it. So it's so much easier to just kind of run and then just add that crouch in the end there. So you can get up to here. Then you just watch, like, where do they drop the C4, right? How do they time it, right? So you don't end up doing stuff like that. So what I rather want to talk about is how to use your satchels to more like aggressive peeking. So this is less flashy rollouts. And more like how to use your generally how to peak angles and do like fancy stuff with the satchels that allows you like better gunplay, right? The only thing that I really want to talk about when it comes to your rollouts is that when you do your rollout, how you want to normally do it is you want to like C4, right? Then you do your second C4 midair, and then as you do that second C4, you do that. So you hit your ultimate button the split second that you detonate the second one. That way, if in case like you decide to like you know, let's say you did a rollout from like top here, right? You do your rollout like 1, 2, and then you get KO'd, and then all of a sudden your ultimate shuts down and you just get killed. You don't waste your ulti because you never got to pop the second C4. You never got to use your ultimate, right? And it just like it saves you on the timer, and it also gives the enemy team less response time to react to it. And you would priming it like this, you have to pull out your knife and then go back in again in your ultimate. So it doesn't really buy you any time to preemptively activate it. In the beginning, if you really struggle with like focusing on hitting both your C4 and the rollout and strafing through air and hitting the ultimate button correctly, then sure, you can preemptively prime it. But ideally, you want to satchel, and on the second satchel detonation, you immediately hit the ultimate button, ready to use. So let's just go over to how to properly peek with Raze. Now, we're just gonna stay true and keep being on Ascent and just doing our stuff. So the very first stuff that is just really nice, if you want to op with Raze, right, you watch a little bit too many flights montages where he just flies around and no-scopes people with an op. And normally, you know, if you play Jet or you play Reyna, if you play Jet, right, you can take the shot and you can just dash. And if you play Reyna, if you get the kill, then you can, of course, fade. Now, Raze can do something very, very similar. It's a little bit more difficult. It's not very difficult, but it's a little bit more difficult than just hitting a button. But it's really, really powerful. So what you do is that when you take the shot and then you throw your C4 like that. So you just throw it to the side and immediately detonate it. And you can use this for all kinds of things, right? If you do that, for example, right, you can do it a billion ways. It's just very common to do this with the op. So you go out here, right, you hold this angle, you do that, and then you're safe. And it's just a quick way to kind of get yourself a little bit movement. It doesn't if you can, for example, hold a little bit like a wider angle because it's so quick in doing it. So just flick the side and double detonate. But most people already know about that one. So let's do something that's a little bit more fun. Let's say for example that you want to peek a guy. So you want to peek a guy, maybe he's opping, maybe he's rifling, whatever. You want to peek that guy. For example, with a classic. Let's just use a classic as an example. Okay, so you want to peek this corner with a classic. Now, of course, you can just do this, or wide peek it, way out here and take that fight. What you can also do is that you can like slide, I call it drifting, with Raze. So what you want to do, you want to put it on a wall, because if you put it on the low ground, it's gonna give you airtime, and you don't want airtime. You just kind of want to slide out so you don't really lose any accuracy. So what you do is that you drop it on a wall like that, and then just then you just kind of explode it like that, and it slides you out from the wall. Of course, the closer to the wall you push it, the more speed you get, and it's a super, super nice way to kind of just get like a peek out from the corner, as you will quickly kind of just slide out and you can hit whatever spray that you want to. And you can use this really anywhere. These crates are kind of maybe not the best example. Actually, let's go to Icebox. Icebox has some pretty good angles, so let's just with some YouTube edit magic go to Icebox. So Icebox is really nice to kind of show some of this stuff on, just because it's a very like, there's a lot of gaps here and a lot of like angles that you can quickly take, right? So again, you can use this like, just to peek some angles, right? You can drop it like here, and then you can do some stuff like that, right? You can do stuff. And what you can also do, for example, let's say that you're stuck here, right? There might be some enemies that are kind of pushing up from here, right? While there's some stuff going on there, and you wanna fall back more here. Maybe the plant is already down, and you kind of just want to move. Right? Of course, you can run, or you can try to like take this fight and hope you don't get shot from here, or you can just kind of move and then you can just quickly C4. So again, kind of moving here and then just C4ing yourself to cover. Once again, quite like quickly bouncing. Of course, at this point you could try to do something like that, but these are normally much quicker. And you can still do it with your gun out, right? So you can kind of go here and then quickly like bounce over, and then you have taken this, and here you can go and you can do whatever the fuck you want. Or just, kind of like drift them. Whatever you want to do. And it kind of goes to the same, right? The whole point is that you can use your C4 packs to kind of give you that extra boost. And what I kind of wanted with this video, and it's a little bit difficult, is to not make it like be that complicated. Again, it's pretty simple. You're close to the center, you fly up. You're further away, you fly, you get more forward speed, and then you just kind of time that. If it's on a wall, logically you don't fly upwards anymore. Like right now, for example, it's above me, so it will like push me down as it explodes, right? If I'm all the way on the side, right, that will give me a little bit of a slide. So then I don't lift my feet. So then I can use those to, for example, like stay on here or be even nastier and judge them, right? And kind of easily pick ops or something else, right? That is holding your angle and give you that little bit of a surprise, right? You can use them to just do quick movements. To just quickly kind of get something done. Like, I want to get this box all of a sudden. Maybe I had an AWP and I slide over here and then I can quickly kind of take those shots, right? You can do all kinds of things with this. And I kind of wanted just to kind of show that, right? You can peek and you can quickly like duck. You can use it to quickly get into safety. You can use it to slide and get peeks. You can do really anything with this. And what I want you to do, the viewer, if you want to like really get to use Raze properly, is to really just try out all kinds of stuff. You can, for example, while you jump, right, you can C4 up to walls. If you want to do that, like you can throw it at a wall mid-air while you're bouncing, right? So you can do all kinds of stuff with this thing, right? And it's just kind of understanding the circle around and how those explosions impact you. Learning a little bit of the timing, and for rollouts, it's really just timing. It's really just like drop something and know like if you jump correctly, then you'll get the perfect amount of momentum. So kind of just like knowing that's all rollouts are. Just knowing like all the nice spots to do it on. That's just what rollouts are. And not really anything more complicated than that. But outside of just rollouts and just using them to engage, you can use them to do like really like cool movement stuff that just gives you a little bit of an edge. And also, in my opinion, it's kind of what makes Raze more fun. Like, that is the fun part with Raze, that actually has so much like quick like bursty movement that you can just take, use, and abuse in your ranked matches. So that's really all that I wanted for this video. I just wanted to make sure that hopefully this got you a little bit of an introduction to how to use Raze satchels without just grinding out all the rollout spots in the world. Showing you a little bit tips and tricks in general. And hopefully you can take this, go into practice games, learn some of that stuff, and get more familiar with it, and then make up your own cool Raze movements, learning how to peek with her satchels, learning how to go back into cover with a satchel, learn rollouts, learn how to kind of move quickly and effectively through the map. Hopefully you can learn that from this video and kind of take some of that knowledge with you. So that's all for today's video. Liking and commenting and sharing the video, subscribing, all that good stuff really does help out a lot for the channel. So thank you guys so much. My Twitter and Twitch and the Discord community server, link down in the description if you want to join. Besides that, guys, please do take care of yourself. Stay positive. My name's Jonal, and you guys keep getting me in your crosshair.